In today's video, I'm going to take you through how to set up your Klaviyo account and how to integrate it with your Shopify site. If you don't know me, my name's Amy. I'm from Sync Savvy Digital. I am a Klaviyo specialist and AI automation enthusiast. I'm located in Melbourne, Australia, and I love helping business owners of e-commerce stores set up and manage their Klaviyo accounts, as well as coming up with new ways to automate parts of their business, because I'm all about streamlining and making things run as easy and as quickly as possible. Once you have signed up to Klaviyo and you've got your account, we're going to open it up and you'll be taken straight to the dashboard, which should look like this. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come down to our integrations tab down the bottom here on the left menu, and we're going to explore apps. So up the top right here, and then we're going to click on Shopify. We can then install Shopify, and it's asking us to put in our Shopify URL. Now, if you are not sure what your Shopify URL is, you can come over to Shopify and you can go to settings and it will show it up here. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it into this one here. And then we're going to come down to on-site tracking. So once the Shopify store is connected, we can have a look here that would tell Klaviyo that we want to sync our data from Shopify into our main newsletter list. So whatever list it is that you want to use as your main newsletter list. So that's where anybody who subscribes via your Shopify site, whether it be at checkout or through another form via the Shopify site, that's the list that they will come into. To set up SMS, we need to actually set up SMS in Klaviyo first. And coming down to this sync data to Shopify section, the only thing we need to be careful here is if you already have an existing email marketing platform like MailChimp or something similar, if you're syncing data back from Klaviyo through Shopify to MailChimp, it will override some of the settings. So if you already have an existing list in MailChimp and that's still integrated with Shopify, I would recommend not syncing until you're sure everything is up to date and all your data in Klaviyo and Shopify is 100% correct. If you have subscribers that are never subscribed in Klaviyo, which means that they are not suppressed, but they're not consented to receive email marketing, they will be sent back through to MailChimp as not subscribed, which means you can't email them. So just something to keep in mind. So now we're going to click on Connect to Shopify, and it's taken us, so you do need to be logged into Shopify at the same time, but it's taken us through to the app, and then we're going to install that. What we need to check here is that our Klaviyo account is the same Klaviyo account that we want to integrate with the Shopify website. So that matches, and so we'll integrate. And it's just going to authenticate that now. So now that the integration has been updated, we're going to scroll down here and we've just got a little note here that's saying could not retrieve app embed status. So we're going to click on this link here, which will take us back to the Shopify site again. And then we just need to toggle on this JavaScript here. So making sure that's on, and then come up to the top here and click save. So we can close this window now, and when we come back here and refresh this, it should now all be connected. So now we're all integrated. We're going to come back over here and have a look at our image and brand. With the branding, you can ask it to guide you and it will want to have a look at your website. So if this is your website, we can just click on next, and what it'll do is it'll grab your logos, fonts, colors, and it will bring it into Klaviyo automatically. If it can't do that, like I have a note here that it won't, what I'm going to do is add branding manually. So we click next, and you will be prompted for any colors, header logo, so you can upload a new logo. If you don't already have it in there, you can click on upload image and select an image. Now, as you can see, this logo has come in here and it's way too big. So I'm going to just change it to say 150, and we can change the font to whatever it is that matches our brand. So you can add fonts down the bottom here. It'll ask you for a Google font. So if, for example, this one, Montserrat, we can select that one. It gives you options of whether it's bold or italic or thin. You can select as many of these as you want, or as many as you think you might use. You also need to select a fallback font, and I try to pick a fallback font that I think looks as close to the Google font that I want to use as possible. I'm just going to put Arial in there for now and add font. The thing with fallback fonts is one of the issues with Klaviyo is you don't have full control over what the email looks like once it gets sent to your recipient. So Google, Yahoo, Outlook, all of those email providers, they will determine what it looks like when it gets there. So what happens with a fallback font is if the Google font is not available via that email provider, it'll switch to that fallback font. You need to pick something that looks similar to what you would ideally like to use. So with the colors, you can have a template background color set, and this can be changed in your template when you actually do it anyway. So nothing needs to be set in stone here. When you go to use a template from the library, it'll use these colors and fonts as your base. So if you can get it as close to what you think you might use in your template, then that will help save a bit of time. So I'm just showing you each of the sections with the colors so you can see what they will look like. So if we do that one green, you can set those colors in there. Then we'll click next. So then it's giving us the option to create an abandoned cart flow based on these default settings that we've popped in here. Now we're going to create the abandoned cart flow in a separate video, so I'm just going to leave that for now and we're going to exit. So when you click through these sections here, it will show you all of the settings that you've just put in through the wizard. So you can add in your Facebook, we can select the Facebook logo, you can pop your Facebook URL in there. We can go Instagram, pop your Instagram URL, and then save those. And then because Klaviyo now has AI functionality, you can actually use this to upload your brand voice. So you can upload a style guide. So if you already have a document that has all of your brand voice and all of that sort of thing, you can pop that straight in there, or you can type one in manually. So you can add in the type of voice that you like to speak to your customers in, and it will help with the AI generation of your email copy. So let's just save that. So under defaults, you can set certain things to apply across your emails so that you don't need to edit it all the time. So if you do want to have a specific email background color, you can add that in there. Your header can look a certain way, making it the same size. Your alt text, everything can be in there. You can set all of your headings, your body text, and your links to be a specific color, size, spacing, bold, italic. You can do that in there. And then you can also have a footer here that has all of your social icons, colors, fonts, everything is in there as you want it across the board, so that you don't need to be reinventing the wheel all the time. So I'm all about streamlining things and making them as easy and as quick as possible so that you're not having to go back and change things all the time. So we'll save that. So that is pretty much setting up your images and brand. The other thing that I would have a look at when you've set up your new account is come down to your business name down the bottom here and then click on settings. So this will take you through all of the settings that are behind the scenes. So you've got personal, organization, users, all of that in here. So setting up your users, if you want to invite people to use or work on your account with you, you can add a user here. So you just pop in their email address and their role. So most of the time, if I request access to somebody's account, I would be asking for admin because I need access to everything. But if you've got somebody that's just setting up campaigns for you, or they're just looking at your analytics, you can also click on the link and it'll tell you exactly what the person will have access to, so that you can figure out what the best user role is for that particular person. Under your messaging tab, this is defaults for your campaigns. What I like to do where possible is determine campaign recipients at the send time. So if I'm scheduling a campaign for today that's not going to be sent for 3 days, I do want it to look at those segments and decide if there's people that need to be added or removed. This is where you'll add in your branded sending domain. So we'll go through that in another video. API keys, if you're integrating a program or an app or something with Klaviyo that doesn't have a natural integration through the integrations tab, you may be able to do it through API keys. Security, so this is just setting up your multi-factor authentication. If you want to grant access to Klaviyo to log in and have a look at your account, you can do that. You can specify how long they can have access for. This is more for internal organization. It's a little bit different to other platforms. In Klaviyo are used more for organization rather than segmentation. They use segments. Other platforms like to use tags in the same sense that segments are used. So this is more for internal organization rather than something for targeting. So in the billing section, this is where you can come in and just have a look at an overview of your account, how much you've used, update your billing. If you need to change your account details, like your card number or anything, you want to change plans, you can do all of that in here. If you are looking at the account usage and you want to see how many emails you can send for the month or how many SMSs you can send, you can come and have a look at that in here. Under preferences, if you're on a paid account, it will give you an option to automatically upgrade once you hit a certain number of subscribers. You can turn that off so that it won't automatically upgrade you. It will notify you first and may put limitations on your account until you do upgrade, but it gives you the opportunity to clean up your account first before being billed for the higher tier. So if you're on a free plan, you will have the Klaviyo logo in your footer. So that's just something to keep in mind. Sender preferences. So this is smart sending. If you have smart sending turned on, which I don't recommend necessarily turning it on for your flows, but this is the time frame in which it will exclude somebody if they've already received an email from you within this set amount of time. I do like to put in the preview here. So this is just when you send yourself a test email, this will show up in the preview, in the subject line of that test email, so that you know that it's a preview, not an actual email going out to customers. So attribution, this is the revenue that gets attributed to Klaviyo's email marketing. So if you send an email to somebody and they open it on day 1, but then on day 3, they go to your website and purchase. Because you've got this 5-day window here for attribution to email, it will show up as being attributed to Klaviyo. So that revenue has been attributed to Klaviyo because it's within that time frame. So you can change the time frame in here if you want to. The recommended for email is 5 days, so you can just leave it. But if you feel that it doesn't suit your business, then you can change it in there. And other, so in here is your consent pages. So subscribe page, email confirmation, preferences. So you do need to edit those and make sure that they suit your branding. Because we've set up that images and branding page or section of Klaviyo, it's already updating this in here, but you can change it. If you wanted to use a different logo, you can just replace that in here. So when you open it up, it will be set to the styles based on what you selected in the images and brand page or section of the Klaviyo setup. So you can change it if you want to, if it doesn't suit, but I would recommend going back and changing it in that images and brand page. But if you did want to change it, you can just come in here and you can just select a different color and it will update it based on whatever color that you select. And you can add in some copy in here if you want to, rather than it just having new subscription. You can change the button color and whether you want it bold or normal, you can do all of that in there. And then once you're finished, you just click publish. But you do need to go through each of these tabs to make sure that these confirmation and subscribe and unsubscribe pages all matches your brand, because customers will receive these emails and then they'll get really confused about who it is that they're receiving these emails from. So that's basically how to set up your Klaviyo account and get it all organized, ready for you to create your first email template, and then moving on to campaigns, flows, importing your lists and creating your lists and segments. If you found that helpful, I'd love it if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you like these videos and you want a little bit more one-on-one help, feel free to join my free Skool community. The link is in the description below.